Hello, my name is Natalie. I'm going to be your occupational therapy student today. So I see here that you're experiencing some symptoms of lupus, like pain in your lower body joints and frequent episodes of fatigue. Is this all correct?
Yes.
And on a scale of 0 to 10, how bad is your pain?
5.
Okay, and what are some things that are difficult for you to do because of your symptoms?
Adjusting my lower body.
Okay, I see. So today I'm just going to give you some tips that's going to help you with lower body dressing.
Okay.
Specifically, I'm going to be addressing some devices that will be really helpful for you that's going to make dressing much easier.
Okay.
So for example, one of the assistive devices that I can recommend for you would be a dressing stick. So what that is essentially a long stick with an area for you to be able to grasp objects with. So if you're sitting on your bed or wherever it is that you're getting dressed, you don't have to get up and go to your closet. If you have your clothing nearby, you can just use that stick and grab the objects and bring it closer to you without having to exert that energy of getting up and walking to your clothes.
Okay.
And then using the stick can also be helpful when you're actually putting on your clothing. So you can use the stick to grasp your pants, let's say, and then bring it down and then help you bring it up so that you can wear your pants.
Okay.
Another object that you can use would be something called the sock aid. So what that is a piece of plastic that you would loop your sock onto, and it has 2 long handles, so you would hold onto those handles and you would drop the plastic portion of it to the ground where your feet are, and then you would slip your foot into that plastic portion of it, and using those 2 handles you would slip the sock aid up, and that would cause the sock to just perfectly go onto your foot.
Okay.
And then lastly, something that we all have at home is a shoehorn, but I would recommend a long-handled one just so that you don't have to bend over to use. And using the long-handled shoehorn, you can just put it at the back of your shoe, and that way your foot can easily glide into the shoe.
Okay.
So I'll be giving you handouts for all of these devices and where you can purchase them, and that would be really helpful. And I would also recommend with all of these objects, keeping them in a small container near your bed or wherever it is that you're getting dressed, just so that they're all together and you don't have to get up and go grab each object. It's all by you and you don't have to exert that extra energy.
Okay.
And then I would also suggest for days where you're feeling extra pain or you're super tired, you don't have to get all dressed up. You can always, we've all been home for so long. We all have our favorite pair of loungewear. So maybe just putting on your favorite sweat set, or even if you want to add some extra style to it, maybe you can tie-dye it, and that way it can be fun to wear your sweat set for days that you're feeling extra pain or extra tired. And then for the devices, I would also suggest having built-up handles on all of it, like the dressing stick or the sock aid or even the shoehorn, having a built-up handle just so that your hand can have a larger grasp instead of using your finger joints and having to use a tighter grip.
Okay.
Does all of this sound okay for you?
Yes.
Okay, and I will be sure to have all of these on a handout for you just so you know the tips that I gave you and where to purchase the items. That's all going to make getting dressed much easier for you.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, thank you.
Perfect. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Good morning, Kenna. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Last time we spoke, you mentioned you wanted to get back into gardening. Is that correct?
Yes, I love gardening and I'm looking forward to getting back into it.
That's fantastic. So now, as you normally do your gardening, does your fatigue and pain levels increase during this activity?
Yes, it does. When I'm gardening for about an hour, I get really fatigued and my hands ache.
I see. When you garden for that long, do you take any breaks at all?
Not really. I just try to keep pushing through it, but I usually feel it more throughout the day.
Okay, so the first thing I want to educate you on your lupus is that fatigue and joint pain are common symptoms with this condition. If you're pushing through it often, it's kind of like going on a road trip with almost an empty tank. You're not going to get very far. You have to refuel and you have to fill up the tank. And the way that you can do that is by taking breaks and resting as needed. Okay. So this would be more beneficial to pace yourself, so that way you won't feel as fatigued.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. So next, I want to talk to you about sun protection. The better you can protect yourself from UV rays, the better we can control some of your inflammation. Let's start with your clothing. So when you go out gardening, I want you to make sure your skin is covered from head to toe. This means you need to wear some type of long sleeve shirt or sweater, pants instead of shorts, a hat that can also cover not only your head, but also your neck as well, and shoes. Because your face is going to be exposed, you're going to want to put some sunscreen on there for additional protection. And after you apply your sunscreen, the last step you're going to do is to wear some gardening gloves. These will not only protect your hands, but they'll also provide you with better grip with the gardening tools. Any questions so far?
Not at the moment.
Okay, so now that we're outside, can you show me where your garden is?
Yes, here's a picture of my dragon fruit.
Wow, it's so mystically beautiful. I like how your dragon fruit is also on a raised garden bed. That'll be beneficial for you because you won't have to use too much energy to constantly bend down if your garden was at ground level. A way you can also conserve some energy is to actually use a small chair or stool.
I can use a chair to garden?
Yes, of course you can. So if you're like standing the entire time gardening, it can cause you to fatigue a lot quicker versus being in a seated position. Some people also garden on their knees, but that can put a lot of stress on their body in that position. If we're more relaxed in the seated position in front of your dragon fruit garden, you want to make sure all of your gardening tools are right by your side to avoid having to constantly reach over. Do you already have your gardening tools right by you?
Yes, I do.
All right, perfect. Okay. Can you get your built-up shovel then? All right, so you can use that built-up shovel for a better grasp, as well as to reduce any pain that you feel in your hands. Now, try gardening with that tool out on your garden. All right, how does that feel?
It feels good. It feels great, actually. There's not as much pain.
All right, glad to hear. You can use other tools such as like a lightweight extended rake so you don't have to reach too far out into your garden.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, I'm glad that makes sense to you. Just remember though, if at any point you start to feel a bit more winded, I want you to take those necessary breaks, okay?
Got it. Thank you. I will.
All right, Kenna. Well, that wraps up our session for today. Are you feeling any higher levels of fatigue or pain right now?
No, I'm not.
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're not in pain. I'm going to give you a handout on some of these techniques that we went over with you. All right?
Sounds good.
Okay, Kenna. Thank you for your time. I'll see you at our next session.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hi Kenna, my name is Crystal Castro and I'm an occupational therapy student. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you.
So thank you for allowing me to come to your house today. On a scale from 0 to 10, what would you say your pain level's at?
About a 3.
Okay, so that's not too bad. Okay, so I heard you have some problems with your meal prep and you wanted to find some ways to help with that because you've been experiencing fatigue
Yes.
and some joint pain, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so that's what I wanted to work on with you today. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay. So first we want to look at how you arrange your kitchen. So we want to use any commonly used items and maybe place them lower. So here, so let's say if you use some of those like pretty often,
Right.
you should try bringing them down here so you don't have to reach as high.
Okay.
Okay. And then maybe down here, what do you have down here? Some pots and pans. So again, if you use those, maybe you want to bring them up to that, or at least if you use it almost every day, maybe you could even leave it on the stove so you don't have to bend over and reach down. Okay. And then I see right here that you have a bag of potatoes. So that is heavy and it is going to have you like bend over to get them. So maybe you want to put that in a bowl and just place them up here so that it'll be easier to reach.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then maybe some of your cookware utensils you should have next to the stove. So maybe right here you can place them. Okay. I see some baking stuff here. So does that all make sense?
Yes, it does.
So just doing little things like that can help with your fatigue, so you don't have to be reaching high, going low.
Okay.
So the next, you could also use assistive devices. So that could be like an electric jar opener or can opener. Because I know you said you were experiencing some joint pain, so it's
Yes.
going to hurt you when you try and open those jars. So you can use that. And then you can also maybe use a rolling cart so that if you're taking out a whole bunch of stuff from your refrigerator, you can put that in the cart and then wheel it to wherever you want to cut up your vegetables or anything like that. Okay? And then also we could get you adaptive or like a built-up grips for your knives or your forks and spoons, and that'll just help you not have to grip as tight, which will help with the like relieve like the stress on your joints.
Okay.
So that you won't have that joint pain.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So then another thing we could do is I see right here that you have a chair here. Do you use this often? Or not really?
Not all the time.
Okay, so we want to try and maybe sit down when you're prepping your meal, like when you're cutting your vegetables, or just doing any sort of stuff like that.
Okay.
So you can either take a seat right here, or you can also take a seat at your kitchen table, because that is lower, so if you don't want to be as high.
Right.
So then, I know that you like to eat salads a lot, so I thought maybe we could try that out so you could try the built-up knives,
Okay.
so you could see how that feels. Does that
Okay.
sound good?
Yes.
Okay, so you could take a seat right here if you want. Okay, so here we have our built-up knife.
Okay.
So you can just take out your lettuce, and then let's just try it out. Just try cutting it.
Okay.
How's that feel?
That feels great.
Yeah?
Yes.
Are you experiencing any pain?
No, not at all.
Okay, so you can just add that into your bowl if you would like. And then you could, if you want to add your feta cheese, you can do that. Okay. So how did that feel?
Felt really good.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so we can purchase that for you, and again, it's just an easy slip that goes right onto the knife, and it again just helps with the grip, okay?
Okay, perfect.
So do you have any questions for me today?
No.
Okay, well that will be it for today, so thank you for working with me.
Okay, thank you.